the word Vipassana is a Pali word. Pali is a language, you know, a Buddhist language of the old times. So Vipassana means, usually they translate as pure insight, but I translate it as pure realization. Yeah, pure reflection, pure realization. You realize from a very deep self, your own self in the deepest aspect. And there was a very famous teacher of Vipassana Meditation called Goenka. So Goenka was an Indian man born in Burma or Myanmar, and he was practicing Buddhism. And he taught a system of traditional Myanmar Vipassana in all over the world. Actually, he first started teaching in Myanmar, then he was taken to India, then from India he went to many other countries. And Goenkaji's Vipassana was a little bit like he was teaching prisoners in all these places, and he was teaching people to meditate for, say, 8 hours a day. So in this system of meditation, you know, this Vipassana system of meditation, what they do is it's like, you know, when, say, we are human beings and when we are introduced to environment, external environment, so you see a tiger and the tiger roars at you and you get like, wow, you know, you get first, you know, like, what to do. What the Buddhist school says that actually the tiger is not the problem. Your sensory data, you are, you know, receiving your senses through your sense organs. And this data is how you are reading things in your mind. And this reading of these data, you know, are actually the problem, not the tiger. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So what they do is they try to make friends with the idea of the tiger. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So, you know, you say you have a negative experience. What these Buddhist schools are saying is that this negative experience is actually not negative. It's actually how we read the situation. Yeah? Sometimes we read it, some people read it okay, some people read it negatively. So these interpretations of data that is coming in, you know, the experience that is interpreted, you know, that is the one, according to these Buddhist schools, are giving you the internal imbalances, the fear, you know, all this kind of stuff. You know, so the Buddha went into a big, you know, explanation of, you know, right speech, right thought, right volition, right activity, blah, blah, blah. Eightfold path, it's called the Eightfold Path, yeah? And what he's saying is that if you put out bad speech, it comes back to you. You know? If you put out bad activities, it also comes back to you. So it is we who are self-sabotaging ourselves. We are hurting ourselves. So he was saying, like, don't do these things, you know, do nice things, say nice things, smile, think positive, you know, so that only you live in a very positive environment, you know. And so I think he's quite right, because if you put out bad things and you get a bad thing back, then who is suffering? Only me. You know, I'm the one who went and shouted at the taxi driver and he got upset, and then it was like an unpleasant situation. So to avoid this, the Buddha was saying, is very important, because otherwise you're affecting not only the social aspect, but you're also affecting your own psychology. You know? So in this system of meditation, they put you to, you know, they ask you to sit for a while, and then they ask you to reflect on your thinking, you know, your thought, your cognition, and then they ask you to think on your feelings, you know, how you feel about these things. So they're teaching you to separate the external from your internal, and especially your internal. They want you to be a master of your internal self, because they're saying the sensory data that you are remembering becomes your memory, and the memory is your interpretation of your experience. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? The experience is a personal interpretation rather than actual. You know, some people like, watermelon, and they say, wow, watermelon is so nice. And some people will say, no, dragon fruit is greater. So the interpretation of the experience is personal. So what the Buddhist meditation is saying is, like when you are interpreting your experiences, interpret it with peace. You understand? So, you see, remember we were talking about the flight and fight syndrome earlier on. You know, you're either running away from the tiger or fighting the tiger or blah, blah, blah. So the third option is actually the zero option. You know what I'm trying to say? You keep your mind zero. You know, you don't participate in the fight or the flight. You train your mind to become harmonious. You know, it reads everything with total peace. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So this is basically the concept of Vipassana meditation.